Yo, so what's going on? Another little training blog for you now. This is more personal for me now than it is. Well, maybe you're getting value out of it. I hope you're getting value out of it. It's nice to track the progression for how we prep for a black belt test, or at least how I'm prepping. It doesn't necessarily have to work for you, and it's more to keep me on track, for keep me focused on what I'm doing. So here we are after a little bit after the prelim has been passed and done. So we got through that. We're happy. Kind of covered that last time, but this is thinking about what's been going on. So I mean, in terms of feedback, got reasonably positive feedback from one of the instructors already. I've still to talk to two others, but or examiners rather than instructors. Well, they're examiners and instructors, but whatever, you know what I mean. Sort of, it's the kind of feedback I expected, right? You know, a little bit shy on the kicking, could have been a tiny bit sharper, specifically around Dalio Chagi. Got caught once or twice, not fully letting it go. And then the other one was stuff like stances, little bits of angles. And I mean, without making excuses, right? If you've been following the blog, ankle injuries have been really a problem for me over the past few months. And while they're in a position now that I can work on them and train with them, they're still not clean, and they're still kind of sore, right? So it's making stances like sitting stance and L stance and anything where you have that kind of things like take Taekwon-Do, for example, with its sitting stance W shapes. Sitting right into those is tricky for me sometimes, because, and I find now to accommodate the lack of mobility in my ankle, the feet are starting to flay out a little bit, and it's not correct, and I know it's not correct, and I'm aware of it, but it's something I have to be conscious of with my body and with what needs to be done. So you have to kind of strike that balance, what's right and what's going to keep you moving through the pattern or whatever, right? I've seen it in L stance as well. If you think about the L stance in USIN, where it's on the spot and it's obverse punch before you've got middle block and obverse punch and angle punch, so that those L stances on the spot, I find I don't get enough sine wave. Instead of it being down and up and down, it's sort of down and out and in, right? And that's kind of something I'm aware of, something I want to fix. And one of the things I noticed recently was stamping motion, doing Chongjiang with the back palm stamping technique, and again, feet straight through it. So it's really, it's just a real curse now when I've never had this problem before, when you're doubting the kind of ability of your body to do what it's told. So it's a new problem for me, and I'm kind of excited to fix it, right? It's just about guarding it, so maybe not training all the jump 360s in Chungmu, maybe not training the jump X pressing blocks in Taekwon until once or twice before I make sure that they're right. But just going constantly hard and strong at them is not sustainable for me at the moment. So I need to kind of manage my body a little bit cleverly, and it's got me thinking an awful lot about how I'm going to do this, the sort of warm up ritual before test, right? So I mean, one of the hard parts about any kind of black belt test in the ITA is the pacing between the sections, right? So you come out, your group is called, you come out, you do your hand techniques, you're released, you come back, half an hour later, an hour or whatever it is, after all the other groups have done hands, then you do feet. So you've gone from being on the floor hot for, maybe 2-3 minutes more, maybe, I don't know. And then you're off for a long time and trying to stay limber and trying to stay warm and trying to stay cool, especially before a kicking section, right? These are things. So I mean, in many ways, I like, they have the new physical assessment at the start, which really did get the heart rate going and got me moving and warm. But and I'm not sure. I've heard that in the last test they ran one group, physical hands feet all in one time, and then they called the next group for the same thing, and that might be good because you're warm and you're fresh and you're not on and off and on and off. But if it's the other way, where it's section by section, then there's little. I have to give a little bit of thought now as to how I prep for each section. And it's stuff that we know and stuff that we do. If it's kicking, you're going to be doing the leg dynamic work, and trying to get warm, trying to get limber, and just get in good shape for that section. Not letting the body switch off too much. Again, the other sort of pacing problem is usually around patterns, right? So historically, you would go out and you would call in your group and you do your pattern, you do your first pattern for your section if you're going for whatever it is, and you do your pattern, and all the examiners will then score you, and that can take a long time, much longer than it takes to actually perform the pattern. So all the time, if you're going for second, third, fourth, fifth, you know you have definitely got 3 patterns. So you know what's coming next, or you should know what's coming next, or what will potentially come next. So you're putting yourself on the spot, and you're sitting there, and you're standing on the floor, and you're waiting, and you're waiting, and you run through the next pattern in your head, and you know, okay, and there's that. And coping with that can be a problem. I know that some people, I've seen it on the floor, they're sitting there and they're twitching, and they're and you know, and I don't suffer from that too much myself, but I see it in other people, and like, it's just something that you have to get used to, especially, you know, when you're going for first degree. Standing there for a long time on the floor by yourself is a lonely place. So, you know, just put it out of your head and focus on the job at hand, I suppose, is the only advice I have for you if you're going for that. You know your patterns, you're good enough to do them, so you've got this far, so you may, you know, just go and do your job. And that's the kind of pacing stuff. So I mean, you know, that's one of the psychological things that you kind of have to. You can train for it, you can prep it, you can visualize it, you can understand it, you know, how you're going to do it, how you want to do it, how you want to perform, and just very important to tune out other people on the floor with you. I remember testing for second or third, I can't remember, and whatever pattern was called, 3 of us moved at approximately the same speed. I think it was Kwangay. 3 of us were in a reasonably similar rhythm. It was just by chance, you know, they weren't from my club or anything. Just we all had a similar enough timing, and one guy was way faster than us. And sure, by the time he had got to whatever movement it was, he turned around and we were 3 or 4 behind him. And I wonder if that paid into his brain, and he slipped up and he forgot the pattern, and he had to come back and try it again by himself and again by himself. And you know, it's one of those things. So I think tune the other people out as much as you can, and do your own job. But if you're the outlier, you know, be confident that's the way to do it, and not let the other people on the floor slip into your to your mind while you're working away. You know, just do your job and worry about yourself. And then yeah, that's kind of the only advice I have for pattern sections, is just because you have to pass it. It's one of the tougher sections if you're not sharp, if you're not you know, really in the zone mentally, where, you know, I know all my patterns, I'm solid. Like, you can give me any pattern, I don't care. You know, that's the kind of attitude you need to have, and you need to be that sharp when you're going there, because you can get any pattern, right? So I think it's fun, you know. Is that weird? I think it's fun. It's a pressure test, and I think it's fun. Whatever. I enjoy it. Just that's why I like Taekwondo. This is the game we play. This is the sport we do. This is the martial art we train. Of course, it's fun. It's a test, but it's fun. You know, why would you do it if it wasn't fun? So that's kind of that, and then the rest of it is all that. You know, the rest of the sections or whatever. I was looking back at the prelim footage as well. I still think I'll get that Sangbang Chagi at the day. I was watching it, and I just didn't push that left twist kick hard enough. I was conscious, because at the first attempt I kind of hit the side kick low, so I was conscious of bringing that up, and I forgot a little bit about the twist kick. So I mean, that's one I want to train a little bit more now over the next few days and weeks. And then the step sparring worked well, and the pre-arranged free sparring worked well. I have to find a new partner, because I don't expect somebody to travel to the other side of the country a day before, get a hotel, and you know, come on the floor with me for 5 minutes. So I'll see if I can find somebody out in Ennis to pair with me, and we'll do a training session over Skype or something. But that's my plan. And yeah, I think by and large, apart from just guarding the ankles, everything is going well. Theory needs a little bit of polish. I was quite lucky that I have friendly examiners that know me, and but it just needs a bit of polish. But by and large, it's going well. The training is going well, and that's sort of where I'm at. So I mean, if you're prepping for the test in December, I'd love to hear your feedback on what you're working on and what your biggest concerns are. Maybe if you're testing for first degree and you've never done a black belt test, and you want to just chat it out with somebody who's been through it once, I can talk to you. I'll happily chime in with whatever you need, or give you whatever pointers I can from having gone through it a couple of times already. You know, it's a good event, but it is pressure. I think of all the ones I've done, first degree was maybe the toughest. They get harder, but they get easier, if that makes sense. When you're testing for your black belt, it's a big deal, right? And I think a little bit with this one now, for me going for 4, that's another one that I kind of really want to nail. A little bit of pressure on that one, but that's okay. That's part of the game. So that's where we're at. For me, plodding along, keep training. and keep working, and hopefully we'll get the result in the end. So yeah, onward and upward. If you have any comments or thoughts or want to discuss anything further, leave us a comment or a like or a share or a subscribe or whatever we're doing now on social media, and yeah, we'll be happy to help you out with any questions or whatever you have. So yep, that's that. We'll see you at the next one. Cheers. Bye bye.